Hey guys, what's up? I hope you're having a wonderful day. I wanted to make a short video with a little devotional for you guys. And also we're going to do the outreach prize drawing towards the middle of this video, so just stay tuned for that. Keep watching. But let's go ahead and turn in our Bibles to Exodus 32. This is the story of the golden calf, and if you've been in church a while, then you probably have heard of this story many times, and if you've never heard of it before, then you're going to learn today. But let's go ahead and read just a little bit of this chapter together. So, Exodus chapter 32. When the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountain. So Moses went up on the mountain because God called him to the mountain so that they could speak to Moses and tell him some certain things and commandments for the Israelites. So Moses was up there a long time, and the Israelites, they gathered around Aaron and said, "Come, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what happened to him." And Aaron answered them, "Take off the gold earrings that your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing, and bring them to me." So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron, and he took what they handed him and made it into an idol, cast in the shape of a calf, fashioning it with a tool. Then they said, "These are your gods by Israel, who brought you out of Egypt." And when Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, "Tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord." So the next day the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and presented fellowship offerings. And afterwards they sat down to eat and drink and got up to indulge in revelry. So the people, they lost faith in Moses. They thought that something had happened to him because he was up on the mountain for so long with God. And Aaron was kind of their leader at the time, their supervisor. He was supposed to keep everybody in check during this time, but instead he gave in to the people's complaints, and he was the leader in fashioning this golden calf, which represented an idol that they were going to worship and dance around and sacrifice offerings to this calf. And the Lord, he told Moses about this while he was on the mountain. He said, "Go down, because your people whom you brought out of Egypt have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I commanded them and have made themselves an idol and cast it into the shape of a calf. And they have bowed down to it and sacrificed to it and have said, 'These are your gods, Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt.'" So the Lord was very angry and wrathful towards them, and later he said that he would punish them for their sins. And Moses was very disappointed in the people too. He was so angry at them for abandoning God and making this calf. So we're going to stop a minute and have the outreach drawing, and then we're going to talk about what exactly this passage means and how we can apply it to our lives today. Hello! It's time for the outreach drawing. So if you got a package in the mail and signed up for our text message system, then your name is in the drawing. And I have our helpers to draw for us. Stephanie and Becca, say hey. Hey! All right, drum roll. Allie Thornton. All right, Allie, you have won a $15 gift card to the American Coffee House, and I will message you later and talk about how you can get that. Thanks, guys. All right, so congratulations, Allie. I hope you enjoy your prize. So let's talk about a few things that we can learn from this passage that we just read in Exodus chapter 32. Obviously, the main thing that happened was the Israelites disobeyed God, and so later they are punished for it. God is a just God, and so if you disobey Him, there's going to be consequences. that's just how it works with justice. And so these people, they directly disobeyed God, and they took it into their own hands to make a new calf idol god out of gold. And they bowed down to it and they worshipped it. And I guess applying this today, we tend to think of, well, we don't do that because we don't actually worship an object. We don't sacrifice things to it. But sometimes we do, and we don't even realize it because it looks different in today's culture. I've talked to many of you during this quarantine, and you're saying, you're watching Netflix, you're binge watching, and that in itself is nothing wrong with it necessarily, as long as it's in moderation. But when it starts replacing things like prayer and reading your Bible and going to church, then it gets toxic and it becomes an idol. So just keep that in check. It could be Netflix, social media, Snapchat, anything really that is taking you away from God, and you're making it an idol if that's happening. And so take a few minutes, and just write down some things that maybe you've gone a little overboard on. So the second thing that we can kind of apply to our lives from this passage, and it's based on the fact that the Israelites took matters into their own hands. They were too impatient to wait on Moses to come down from the mountain, and they settled on making an item to worship because they were so impatient. In today's culture, we're used to getting things instantly. I mean, if we send a text message to a friend asking them a question, then we expect them to reply as soon as possible. And so we're used to this instant gratification. We're not used to having to wait on things anymore. And sometimes God makes us wait to let us become more patient and to trust in Him greater. Because your trust can really increase in God during a season of waiting. But the main thing that I see teenagers doing with this whole settling business is in relationships and dating relationships. So maybe all of your friends are in relationships and you just kind of feel left out, and that's a really hard place to be in. But maybe you just set out and say, hey, I'm gonna find me a girlfriend or a boyfriend as soon as possible. I don't even care really who it is. I just want that status. And so I'm going to settle for this person who I know is not God's best for me. And that's a really bad decision. And instead, you should pray about it, and you should wait on God and His blessing on a relationship before you settle. And sometimes when you settle on somebody, after a while you've convinced yourself that it is God's best, and then you maybe date for several years and become comfortable, and then you realize that it's not God's best, and anyway, it's a disaster. So don't settle on things. Picture this. So I used to do this all the time when I was you guys' age. I would say the new Xbox has come out and I want it so bad today. So I go to the store and I want a special edition Xbox. I have the blue special edition, so I really wanted it to be blue and just so cool, right? So I go to Walmart and I have this item in mind that I want. And I go to Walmart and they're sold out of that special blue edition Xbox. Instead, they just have these standard versions of the new Xbox. And so, because I want it today, I settle on getting just your standard Xbox instead of this really awesome blue deluxe edition package because I want it today. And that's an example of settling. So just reflect on your life and see those areas that you may be settling in, and pray about it and try to wait for God's best. Alright guys, I hope this message was helpful and made you reflect on your life a little bit. And I can't wait to see you guys next week to play kickball together. Hope you can make it, and have a great day.